ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्रभ्यं जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we were discussing the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and we have completed till verse number 32. So a quick summary, what is the context? So chapter 6 describes about Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. So before this, we have seen several different yogas being discussed. And in the first six chapters of Gita, Krishna actually enumerates different yogic paths. In the chapter 1 is called Vishad Yoga. So Krishna is not speaking anything, but it gives the context of Kurukshetra war, the conversation that Duryodhana is making with Bhishma and Dronacharya, and observing the armies on each side. So that is a context. In what context Lord Krishna started speaking this Bhagavad Gita. And the main portion of chapter 1 is that Arjuna was bewildered to see his own relatives in the battlefield. So he gave several reasons for not fighting. In the subsequent chapters, like chapter 2 and 3, Krishna refutes all the arguments of Arjuna. And to refute those arguments, Krishna has introduced different yogic paths. And Krishna told that what all different paths are there to reach him. Like the Sankhya Yoga, which is also Jnana Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is discussed in the 2nd chapter. Then Buddhi Yoga is also a little bit discussed there. Sakam Karma Yoga is discussed. Then the 3rd chapter is predominantly Karma Yoga. And also there is a comparison between Jnana and Karma. And how Krishna is telling that although, like even if you are qualified for Jnana Yoga, you should perform Karma Yoga. So Krishna is really preferring Karma Yoga. The 4th chapter speaks about Jnana Yoga. And in that also different sacrifices done by different personalities, different kinds of spiritualists, that is described in the chapter 4. Also in chapter 4, Krishna gives a summary of how Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is different from the minute living entities. Krishna is infinite and the living entities are infinitesimal. And everything about Krishna is very different than the jivas. Like even if we consider the birth of Lord Krishna is not due to karma. For the living entities, we take birth because of our karma. We had some residual karma from the previous lifetimes, either good or bad, and therefore we have to take birth. And in this birth, we are again generating karma, and this is a never-ending cycle. But Krishna actually appears out of his own sweet will. Ajopi san abhyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavam yatma mayaya So Krishna says, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. By my own potency, I appear. I am not forced to appear like the living entities. Therefore, my janma and karma is very different from the living entities. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvata tyakta deham punarjanma naiti mame Arjuna. If you know the truth of Krishna's birth and activities, and if you know that they are transcendental, they are very different from the living entities, if you can realize this fact, only by realizing this, you will go back to Godhead. You will be a liberated soul. So then at the end of chapter 4, Krishna also discussed that what is the best way to receive knowledge. In parampara, you should be connected to a bona fide spiritual master who is Tattvadarshi, who has realized the truth. From such a Vaishnava, you should receive knowledge. Tadvidhi pranipatena pari prashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. In the chapter 5, Arjuna had again the similar question that should I fight or not? Should I do karma tyag or I should do karma yoga? So karma tyag means I take sannyas from the karma. So Arjuna's doubt is whether to take sannyas from karma or whether to be a sannyasi in karma. So the best way Krishna recommends that no, you have to apply sannyas in karma. You need not have you need not take sannyas from karma. What does it mean? That you should not abandon your prescribed duties. You should do them. But you should do them in a Krishna conscious way, offering it to the Supreme Lord. So that was a doubt which was coming again and again in the 3rd chapter and also in the 5th chapter. So now Krishna saw that, okay, I have told Arjuna many different paths, Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Sakam Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and then Karma Sannyasa Yoga, like that. So let me enumerate the other path. There is one more path called Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, and that is being discussed in the 6th chapter. So Ashtanga Yoga means there are 8 limbs of this Ashtanga Yoga: Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. The first 5 stages of this Ashtanga Yoga are called the preliminary stages. Yam, Niyam means some preliminary do's and don'ts. Asana means the bodily posture. That is very important for doing a dhyan or Ashtanga Yoga. The bodily posture, asana. Then pranayam, breath control. Then pratyahar, abstaining the senses from the sense objects, separating them out. Why? Because whenever the senses are coming into contact with the sense objects, suppose you like to eat something and immediately you feed it. Your eyes are demanding something, that I want to watch this. So immediately you open a movie and start watching. Your ears are hankering for some rock music, immediately you supply. So the senses are demanding, and if we immediately supply them, what is happening? Senses are coming into contact with the sense object. And Bhagavad Gita explains the science. When these two things come together, what happens? Vishayendriya samyogat. So Vishayendriya samyogat. Okay. Jehi sangsparshaja bhoga dukkha jonaya evate adyantavanta kwanteya nateshu ramate buddha. So this is a bhoga. Bhoga means enjoyment. Yes, we like to hear, we like to see something, we like to eat something. We are enjoying with our senses. But what is the nature of this enjoyment? Yehi sangsparsaya bhoga. This is a enjoyment which is rising from the sangsparsha or contact of the sense objects with the senses. And Bhagavad Gita describes what is the result? Dukkha jonaya evate. It is the birthplace of dukkha. If you immediately supply what your senses are demanding, you are inviting dukkha in your life. And therefore, adyantavanta kwante nateshu ramate buddha. Buddha, or the intelligent people, they do not supply whatever their senses are demanding. They only supply whatever their senses require. So there is a difference between need and want. Krishna is not telling that you should not take care of the body. Take care of the body as per the requirement. But we should not unnecessarily fulfill all the demands of the body, all the demands of the senses. If you start feeding the senses whatever they want, they will be restless and you cannot do anything. You cannot focus in anything. Spiritual material. In every circumstances, we will suffer. So therefore, many people complain that when I was a child, I was less distracted and I could remember many things. Sometimes people in the old age, they become surprised. Is it the same me who prepared for JEE and I memorized all that like thousands of formulas? Now I cannot remember simple things. So when we are a child, we are not like, we have not seen much in this world. We are less distracted. So we have much potency. So if you want to maintain that purity, we have to do this fasting of the senses. You should not feed the senses whatever they want. Therefore, in the 6th chapter, Krishna already has told this. 6th chapter, verse number 17. So, to what degree we should feed our senses? Yuktahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmashu yukta sapno bhavodasya yogo bhavati dukkha. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work. So, see, Krishna is allowing recreation. It's not that you should not. And work can mitigate all the material pains by practicing the yoga system. But you have to be regulated. What is the meaning of regulation? First of all, you should not do any recreation which is against the Shastric principles. In the name of recreation, we cannot break the regulative principles like meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit sex. These are not recreation. These are taking you to hell. If you want to do recreation, do it in a Krishna conscious way. You want to hear music, hear kirtan. You want to relax, watch a lecture, hear about Bhagavad Gita. So in a Krishna conscious way, in a positive way, you have to do recreation. Otherwise, in the name of recreation, we put in garbage to the mind. And therefore, our mind, the potency of the mind reduces. And then we suffer. We cannot concentrate. And to achieve the same thing, we have to struggle more. And for our acharyas, it is a different, because they were very, very focused. They could achieve with very less effort. And still, they are abhyartha kalatam. They will not waste time. So they are much more efficient and they are not wasting time. Therefore, they could achieve so much. Can you imagine that during Prabhupada's time, 1960s and 70s, the internet and mobile, all these things, WhatsApp was not there, email was not developed that time. Prabhupada used to write letters by hand and post them. With that kind of communication system, Prabhupada used to manage 108 temples across the globe. He traveled 14 times around the globe and he managed. Just to manage one company in one place, we are struggling so much with all these advanced technologies. So can you imagine that how much powerful our acharyas were? This is because they were focused and they are following the instruction of Krishna. See, Krishna knows all the secrets of this universe. How can you be happy? How can you be powerful? If you listen to him, you will be a powerful person. You will be a very strong person. If you listen to your own intelligence, you will ruin your life. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And see, when Arjuna was thinking that I am very Pandit, I know everything, and Arjuna was giving logic to Krishna. Krishna, you know, this is why I should not fight. You know, this is why I should not fight. Krishna kept quiet. Whenever Krishna sees that we are smart enough, actually we are dumb. But if we think we are smart enough, Krishna will keep quiet. Only when Arjuna surrendered, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava pritchami tvam dharma sambuna cheta. Yat cheyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. When Arjuna told that, okay, I have enough utilized my brain, but still I am confused. Krishna, please guide me. Then Krishna started speaking. Dehinosmin jatha dehe matra sparsastu kaunteya nainam chindanti sastrani. And first of all, Krishna chastised Arjuna also. Asochpananva sochastam pragyavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasumscha nanusochanti pandita. So you are talking like a very pandit, a knowledgeable person, but you are acting like a fool. You are thinking in terms of the body, but actually you are spirit soul. So then Krishna started giving all this knowledge. So the thing is that in the 6th chapter, Krishna discusses about this Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga had 8 limbs: Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar. Yam, Niyam means the do's and don'ts. Asana means bodily posture. Pranayam means the breath exercises. And then Pratyahar means separating the senses from the sense objects. And we discussed so many things in regard to that. There are 3 advanced stages of Ashtanga Yoga: Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. The preliminary meditation is called Dharana, when your attention span is 12 seconds. Then the advanced stage of, more advanced stage of Dhyana is called Dhyan. And that is when you can concentrate your mind 144 seconds, 12 times 12. While chanting, if you can concentrate your mind 144 seconds on the Maha Mantra without getting distracted, you have reached the stage of Dhyan. And Samadhi means you can concentrate for 12 times 12 times 12, 1728 seconds, near about 25 minutes. If you can do that, you have attained the stage of Samadhi. So this is Ashtanga Yoga. And Krishna is telling that mind is the friend of Atma, and mind is also the enemy of Atma. It depends on the usage. Uddharet atmanatmanam natmanam avashadayat atmaiva hyatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanah bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatvaiva atmanajitah anatmanastu satrute vartatatmaiva satruvat chitatmana prasantasya paramatma samahita shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapamanayo. So Krishna says so many verses in regard to the mind, because dhyana means controlling the mind, meditation. That is the meaning of dhyana. Uddharet atmanatmanam natmanam avashadet. With the help of the mind, you should try to elevate the Atma. Mind can elevate the Atma also. Mind can degrade the Atma also. How? If you focus your mind, if you use your mind to think about sense gratification, how can I gratify senses? What all new movies have come to the market that I can see and satisfy my eyes? What all new materialistic music has come to satisfy my ears? So if we always engage the mind in all those things, how can I satisfy my senses? This is called that I am utilizing the mind to degrade the Atma. The Atma is already very much attached to, like, not the Atma, but the misidentified self. We are attached to sense gratification anyway. And if you keep on thinking about the sense gratification, if you keep on making plans about sense gratification within your mind, then the Atma is more entangled, and that is called degradation. And if you keep on doing this, you will get an animal body very soon. So whenever people used to do too much sense gratification, like Prabhupada used to preach and they would not listen, and they just kept on eating meat and all those nonsense things. Prabhupada used to say that very soon you will get an animal body. So your all these desires will be fulfilled very nicely, because animal body means all sense gratification. They cannot think about the Supreme Lord. So therefore, we will lose this human form of life, because the purpose of human form of life is to disentangle the soul from this material bondage and to realize God, realize our own self. That is the real meaning. Mahabharata says, Ahar nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanam etat pasubhi naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharme nahina pasubhi samana. So this ahar, nidra, bhai, maithun, these 4 things are common in man, the human, and animals. Ahar means eating, sleeping, mating, defending. These 4 things are common. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. There is only dharma, or inquiry about the Supreme Lord, inquiry about the self, which distinguishes a human from an animal. If we lose that interest, then we are no better than an animal. So Krishna speaks many things, that if you focus the mind on sense gratification, Atma will degrade. If you focus the mind on Krishna, if you inquire about the spiritual subject matters, then Atma will be elevated. And then Krishna has in detail described the Ashtanga Yoga, and we have seen that in everything there is a regulation. You have to sit in a moderate place, not too high, not too low. The spinal cord should be erect, and your eyes should be half closed, and you should be meditating on the nose tip, and you should withdraw all your senses. So you have to put a lot of effort, and we were discussing that. The major difference between Bhakti Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga is, in Ashtanga Yoga you have to do everything yourself, control the mind. This is a Herculean task, and it is given to you. You do somehow. The Supreme Lord will only take the test. Have you controlled the mind? Okay, then I will give you liberation. I will not help you. In Ashtanga Yoga, the Supreme Lord does not help. Supreme Lord just is a test taker. The task is assigned to you, control the mind. And somehow you do it. If you do, then I will give liberation. But in Bhakti Yoga, the situation is completely different. You just desire to control the mind and you engage the mind in Krishna service. Now it is Krishna's responsibility to control your mind. Now the mind is very powerful and we are weak. So therefore, if we try to control the mind, it is very difficult. But if Krishna tries to control our mind, that is very easy. Within a fraction of seconds, he can do that. And that depends on our sincerity. The more sincere we are, Krishna will control our mind very easily. So therefore, after hearing all this, Arjuna will say, now we will read what Arjuna says. Arjuna will say that this is impossible for me. I cannot do this Ashtanga Yoga. Because you are giving everything on me, that I have to control mind, I have to control senses, and I cannot do that. So Arjuna is telling, Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya prapta shamyena madhushodana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalat patsthitim sthiram. Arjuna said, "Oh Madhushodan, this system of yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, which you have summarized, appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady." So Arjuna is a very powerful warrior. Let us read the next verse as well. You'll understand. And still he is telling that I cannot control the mind. Then what to speak of us? We have no, there is no question for us to control the mind on our strength. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavadradam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva suduskaram. Very famous verse. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Arjuna is telling the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Arjuna is so powerful that he can control the wind. If there is a hurricane storm, immediately he will release an arrow and the storm will be gone. This much power Arjuna has. Arjuna once defeated Lord Shiva also. So such a personality is telling I can control the wind, but I cannot control the mind. Then what to speak of us? We have no chance. So now Krishna is telling. So Arjuna complained that you have described the Ashtanga Yoga. Thank you for that. But I don't see any utility of this because I cannot apply it in my life. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamsayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena Tukwanteya Vairagyena Chagrihyate. Krishna says, definitely my friend Mahabaho Arjuna, I agree with him 100%. The mind is very obstinate. It is very difficult to control the mind. But if you keep trying, abhyasena tu kvanteya. Abhyas means practice. If you keep trying, and vairagyena cha grihyate. I give you two formulas to control the mind. Abhyasena and vairagyena. So now Krishna is shifting towards devotional service because Arjuna is seeking help. Ashtanga Yoga means there is no help from Paramatma. But now Arjuna is asking for help. Krishna already started giving solutions. So now this is being transformed towards Bhakti Yoga. Krishna gives two formulas, Abhyasena and Vairagya. Abhyas means practice. While chanting, if your mind goes to another subject, drag the mind from that subject and put it into the holy name. This is called Abhyas. What is the meaning of Vairagya? Vairagya means detachment. The main reason why our mind goes here and there, because we are attached. We have to be very, very detached, then our mind will not go here and there. So, while we are chanting, first of all, we have to think we cannot control everything. That is the reason why we cannot concentrate our mind. We are always distracted because we are attached. We think, what will happen if this goes wrong? What will happen if that does not happen? I have given the examination. What will happen if I fail? So you have already given the examination. Nothing is in your control. You cannot, if you think for the whole day, you cannot even increase 1 mark. Still we are thinking about that because we are attached. We are attached to our false ego. We are attached to our prestige. What will happen to my social prestige if I fail in that exam? So all these kinds of attachments are there. If we can cultivate detachment, that okay, I have done whatever I could, now I cannot do anything, so now I leave that on Krishna. Krishna, everything is in your hand. If you want me to purify, I will fail and people will criticize me. I will take that criticism as a purification and I will try again. This is the mood of a devotee. But attached person cannot concentrate the mind. Every time that thought will come, what will happen? What will happen? So therefore, it is very important to understand what we can control and what we cannot control. What we cannot control, Krishna can control. So we have to leave on Krishna. Sometimes what we do our part also, and we want to do Krishna's part also. Some things we are not supposed to do, and we have to leave on Krishna. And if we cannot leave, then we cannot live peacefully. So we have to learn to leave things to Krishna, then we can live peacefully. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and we are tiny living entities. We have very little thing to do. If we just do that, we will be very satisfied. But Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He has many things to do. If we want to do Krishna's work also, that will be a big burden for us. So do not try to do the Supreme Lord's work. You will overburden yourself. You are just an infinitesimal spirit soul. Don't try to do the work of Ananta, Krishna, the infinite. Then we will feel pressure. So that is the secret. So to cultivate Vairagya, we have to leave on Krishna. Whatever we can do, and then do your best and leave the rest to Krishna. Asamyatmana yogo dusprapa iti me mati vyasatmana tvijatata shakyo vyaptum upayata. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is a difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. So Krishna again says, if the mind is controlled, then success is assured. But if mind is not controlled, self-realization is very difficult. So mind is the whole game. If you can control the mind, then you are done. Again, Arjuna says, Arjuna uvacha ayati shraddhayopete yogachalitamanasam aprapya yoga samsiddhim kam gatim Krishna gacchati. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? This is a very important question in Bhagavad Gita. This question answer, this last part of this conversation is very important. Arjuna is asking a $1 million question. That suppose I strive for a spiritual path, and we may have this question, many of us, and very important to hear what Krishna says here. So Arjuna's question is, suppose I take up the spiritual path. When we take up the spiritual path, we have to get rid of many habits, material habits. Like for becoming a bhakta, you have to follow the 4 regulatory principles: meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. If we were doing that before, we have to leave that. And that is a form of material enjoyment, although that is sinful, but ordinary materialistic people think that that is the material enjoyment. So a person is leaving material enjoyment to pursue the spiritual path, right? So who in the beginning takes up the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and does not attain perfection. But it is not assured that we will attain perfection in this life. It may take several lifetimes. So suppose I leave all the material enjoyment and pursue the spiritual path, and then I fail. I fall down from the exalted position. Suppose I started chanting, and then at the end of life, somehow I could not remember Krishna, and therefore I am not going to Golok Vrindavan. I have to take another birth. Then what will happen? So Arjuna's point is that person is losing in both ways. He is not doing material enjoyment, and he is not also getting the spiritual perfection. So what will happen to that person? Very important question. Kachinno bhaya vibhrastas chinna bhamiva nashyati apratishta mahabaho vimuda brahmana pathi. O mighty Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a raven cloud with no position in any sphere? So what happens if a small cloud gets separated from a large cloud, and that cloud is not able to join with another big cloud? Then that small cloud will just roam around in the sky, because unless there is a heavy cloud, it will not rain. So if we consider raining to be the ultimate success, the analogies in Bhagavad Gita Krishna gives are very intellectual analogies, and we have to understand nicely. So if raining is considered to success, then that particular small cloud has to join any of the big clouds, then it will rain. But if it leaves one cloud and then does not join with another big cloud, then it will roam around like that forever. So similarly, a person leaves material enjoyment, leaves the cloud of material enjoyment. And if he does not attain spiritual success, that means if he cannot join with the spiritual cloud, then he will perish like a raven cloud with no position in any sphere. So what will happen? Etan me samshayam Krishna chettumarhasi asheshata twadanya samshayasasya chetya nahi upapadyate. This is my doubt to Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Only you can destroy. So please answer me this question. Now, very interesting. What will happen? You can guess the answers, and then we will check with Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinasasya Vidyate Nahi Kalpana Nahi Kalyana Kritkaschit Durgatim Tatagachati. So Krishna says, the Supreme Personality of God had said, son of Pritha, means Partha or Arjuna, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with destruction earlier in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So Krishna says a transcendentalist will never be at loss, will be always in gain. And Krishna will explain how. Earlier in the second chapter, if you remember, there Krishna spoke a verse 2.40. Neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, that means if someone is pursuing the spiritual yoga, bhakti yoga, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear? Fall down from human form of life to animal species. That is the most dangerous type of fear. Generally, we think death is a very fearful thing, but death is nothing. That is how Bhagavad Gita upgrades our knowledge. In material world, we think, oh, death is the most dangerous thing. But death is not the most dangerous thing. Death is nothing. Jatasya hi dhruvo mitra dhruvam janma mitasya tasmad apariharyate natvam sachitum arhasi. One who has taken birth, he will die. One who is dead will take birth. वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. Death is just like changing a body, like changing garments. Just as we change old garments and put on new garments, similarly, the Atma puts on a new body. When the old body is cannot be used anymore, it is in deplorable condition. So Atma leaves that body and takes up a new body. So death is nothing. And Krishna initially also says that dehinosmin jatha dehe komaram jovanam jara tatha dehantaro prapti dhirastatra na muhyati. An enlightened person is not at all bewildered by this death. But then what is the most dangerous type of fear for a knowledgeable person? For an ignorant person, death is that dangerous type of fear. But for a knowledgeable person, death is nothing. But for a knowledgeable person, what is the fear? The fear is, if I glide down from this human form of life into animal species, it will take me crores of lifetimes, like 8.4 million species, so crores of years to come back to this human form of life. If we cannot utilize the human form properly, that is a great loss. We have to suffer crores of years to again get that human form of body. So that is the most dangerous type of fear. So in this verse, Krishna says, if you have made progress, that progress will be restored in the next life. If you have made 20% advancement, in the next life, you will start from 21%. And this does not apply for material achievements. You cannot claim that I have done masters in this lifetime, so in the next lifetime I will start from PhD. You cannot do that. But in this on the spiritual path, whatever we achieve, that will be restored in the next life. And we can actually see that. Like I deal with many devotees, so I have seen some devotees who got introduced to Krishna consciousness, and within 1 month they come to 16 rounds. They start doing Mangalarti. They follow the 4 regulatory principles. Like leaving this meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex is just takes 1 second for that person. So, and we are astonished. How come this person comes to a very high standard in just 1 month? Because he has practiced devotional service in the previous life, and that progress is being restored within a very short period of time. So within 1 month, he comes to that stage, whatever he practiced in the previous life. So this Bhakti Yoga credit is never diminished. So similarly, Krishna says, it's not that if you cannot succeed in this life, your progress will be lost. Your progress will be saved. And Arjuna, you are thinking about material enjoyment. So let me explain you. A spiritualist who is on the spiritual path does not lack material enjoyment also. He gets enough material enjoyment and his spiritual credit is restored. So both way he is at gain. You are thinking both like the material enjoyment and the spiritual enjoyment, both that person is losing, but it is the other way around. In both spiritual and material, he will be at gain. Now let us, it will be clear in the next verses. What happens to such a person who has who has made some spiritual progress, then fell down? What happens? Prapya punna kritam lokan usitva shashvati samam suchinam srimatam gehe yoga vrashto vijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities or in the Swargaloka. So first of all, you left material enjoyment to pursue spiritual path and you fell down. Because you left material enjoyment and you have done some amount of spiritual progress, first of all, after death, you will be given many years of material enjoyment in the pious planets in the Swargaloka. So whatever material enjoyments you would get in earth, you are getting million times more than that in terms of material enjoyment. And then you are given birth into the family of righteous people or into the family of rich aristocracy. Why? Righteous people means Suchinam. Suchinam means the Brahmanas. In the Brahman family or in the mercantile family, will be given a birth. If you given birth in the Brahmin family, so your spiritual progress will be restored. They will teach you spiritual things from the childhood. And if you take birth in the mercantile family, you will be very rich and you do not have to worry about your material well-being. You can just focus on your spiritual life. So Krishna helps them by giving birth in the family of either Brahmanas or in the mercantile class. Now, there is another kind of fall down. Athava yogi nameva kule bhavati dhimatam etadhi durlabham durlabhataram loke janma yadidisham. There is another kind of fall down. The previous one is for a yogi who has progressed very little in the spiritual path and then fell down. So if you make very little progress in the spiritual path and then you fall down, then you get many years of enjoyment in the heavenly planets, and then you take birth in the family of Brahmanas or mercantile class. And there is another kind of fall down. Suppose a person has completed up to 90% in the spiritual path and only 10% remaining, and then he fell down. So now Krishna will give birth in a Vaishnava family. So this birth is very rare. So taking birth in a Vaishnava family or being a devotee by birth, it is a very, very rare thing. That means they are almost perfected yogis and they somehow fell down. Therefore, Krishna is giving them birth in Vaishnava family. Okay, the family of transcendentalists who are surely in great wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. And Srila Prabhupada, so fortunately, Prabhupada says here, very interesting in the purport. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our humble self, I mean Prabhupada himself, had the opportunity to take birth in such families. Of course, they are Vishnu Parsadas and they are coming directly from Golak Vrindavan. So Krishna will definitely give them birth in the Vaishnava families, undoubtedly. So now we are very close to ending this chapter. Tatra tam buddhi samyogam lavate pauravadehikam yatate cha tato bhuya samsiddhau kurunandana. On taking such birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. And he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success on son of Kuru. So by getting birth in the Vaishnava family, he completes the remaining 10% and perfects his life and goes back home, back to Godhead. So such a person gets both material enjoyment and spiritual success, both. Krishna will make sure that. Even if you do very small for Krishna, Krishna will give you result 1,000 times in a magnified way. Krishna is so merciful. So if you do something for Krishna, you will never be at loss. Krishna will make sure that. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate ya avashopisha jigyashorapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. By virtue of divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles. We can observe this. Some people from childhood, they are attracted to spiritual things. Okay, this is a sign that he was a yogi in this previous life. Even without seeking, some kids we see, they are attracted to Mridanga and they automatically, without any guidance, they learn all the bits of Mridanga. Actually, they have learned them in the previous life. Some people quote verses very nicely. So that is also coming from previous life. Getting a good sense of bhajans or good sense of music. So there is some connection with the previous life. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands away above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. So now in internet like YouTube, you can see there is a small child called Bhagavad, devotee child, and he almost knows all the intricacies of the philosophy. It is amazing. If you just search, you will somewhere get this Bhagavad, very small boy, doing kirtan and preaching, doing book distribution at very small age, like will be like 6 or 7 years or maybe 5. And his understanding of the philosophy is so much. That is wonderful. I will share some of the videos of Bhagavad in the group. You'll see. He explains that how can you be dear to Krishna? So he explains that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Ya idam paramam guisham mad bhakteshu avadhashyati. So one who preaches this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to people, he is the most favorite to me. And he explains this with an analogy that suppose a father has two children and one of the child is lost, and the person who brings back that child automatically becomes favorite of the father. So with simple analogy, he is explaining very intricate philosophy. So this is certainly something to do with the previous life. So these examples we can see. It's not that Bhagavad Gita is some concocted theoretical book. You can practically see all these things. Prayatnad yatamanastu yogi samshuddha kilvisha aneka janma samsiddhas tato yati param gatim. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being worst of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. So ultimately, with all these assistance from Krishna, like the birth in Vaishnava family and all, he achieves perfection. tapasvibhyodhiko yogi yanivyopi matodhika karmivyaschadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. So a yogi is greater than ascetic, greater than the empiricist, greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances become a yogi. These are the last two verses. This is the second last verse, and the last verse is the like most important verse of this chapter, you can say. So just understand these two verses very carefully. Krishna is making a transition from Ashtanga Yoga to Bhakti Yoga. So first Krishna says that the yogi is topmost. Yogi means Ashtanga Yogi here, because this chapter is Ashtanga Yoga. So yogi is greater than ascetic, greater than empiricist, greater than fruitive worker. So yogi is greater than tapasvi, jnani, and karmi. So yogi is topmost, right? So in all circumstances, you should become a yogi. Now, this is the masterpiece. Yogi namapi sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yobam same yuktatamo mata. Out of all different yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is most intimately united with me in yoga, and that is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So many people are doing yoga, but bhakti yogi is the topmost. This term, Shraddhavan Bhajate, this bhajana means doing bhakti, because bhakti comes from the root word bhaj. Okay, so Krishna is indicating that bhakti yogi is topmost, and Krishna endorses this point again in you will see throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna will endorse this point. 18.55 Bhakti amam abhijanati javan jaschasmi tatvata tato mam tatpato gatva vishate tadanantaram. In Bhagavatam, Krishna says, "Na sadhayatu mam yogo, na dharma shankha uddhava, na sadhyayastapastyago jatha bhaktir mamorjita." I am not controlled by anything as I am controlled by bhakti. So Krishna is recommending bhakti yoga, but he enumerates all the different yogas in Bhagavad Gita. So that is the essence, and we have successfully completed the first 6 chapters. So enumeration of different yogas by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, that section we have completed. Now 7 to 12, these 6 chapters will be focused on bhakti, and then the 13 to 18 they will discuss about jnana. So Bhagavad Gita is like a sandwich or a jewel box. There is an upper lid and there is a lower, and the jewel is in the middle. So the essence of Bhagavad Gita, bhakti, which Krishna himself has said multiple times in Bhagavad Gita, is in the middle 6 chapters, and there are 2 coverings of karma and jnana. So first 6 chapters are mainly karma. You see the karma yoga is coming again and again. 3rd chapter, 5th chapter, Arjuna is asking same question, and Krishna is telling do karma yoga, do karma yoga. So first 6 chapters is mainly karma yoga. Last 6 chapters are jnana yoga, and middle 6 chapters are bhakti. So we'll start that middle 6 chapters from the next class. Okay. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? Oh, yeah, cannot unmute, right? Yes, you can do now.
Hello.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, I can't hear you properly. No, Mataji. Try again.
Is it fine right now?
Yeah,
Prabhuji?
now okay. Now okay.
Prabhuji, you just mentioned that the yogi who has progressed very little on a spiritual path is
Yeah.
either born into a family of a devotee or a very aristocratic family, a rich family.
No, that
Whereas
is
he doesn't have
Brahman or aristocratic family. That is not
Brahman
devotee.
or a rich family, where he doesn't have to worry about his monetary needs and can
Yeah.
follow the path of spirituality.
Yeah.
But we often see the people who is born into a rich family are the one who is most deviated from spirituality nowadays. So how does it, because since they don't have to worry about monetary, we see that they are the one who is most deviated from the path, not
Yeah.
in the path.
Very nice question. So see, first of all, you have to understand, all those who are taking birth in aristocratic families are not for like failed down yogis. People can take birth in aristocratic families in many ways, and one of the categories are the like fallen yogis. So the fallen yogis will take birth in aristocratic family, may take birth. They may also take birth in Brahminical families. So one of the category, like many people are taking birth in aristocratic family. One reason may be that he's a fallen yogi. Another reason may be that he acquired some pious credit, therefore he is given birth in aristocratic family. So if that is coming from the pious credit, this person will tend to be like away from the spiritual life, and they will try to do more sense gratification. But if the background is they're fell down yogis, they should show some inclination towards the spiritual path. And also in this case also, because they have advanced very little, they may also show some erratic behavior from devotional service. But generally, like most of them are taking birth in aristocratic family due to the pious credit, and therefore they are not interested in the spiritual subject matters, what we observe in this world.
Prabhuji, one more question.
Yeah.
Not related to this Ashtanga Yoga chapter, but you have often explained in Bhagavad Gita that the basic essence of Bhagavad Gita is to do your karma and offer the fruits to Krishna.
Yes.
Not thinking that you are doing the karma. It's often you should always offer the fruits to Krishna.
Yeah.
So somebody asked me, what if I do the wrong things, like intoxication or the things which are the four regulatory principle which you shouldn't do, and offer the fruits to Krishna? Will Since they cannot leave it at that very instant, if suppose they are smoking, or if suppose they are doing something wrong which is not prescribed within our scriptures, and then they offer the same, like thinking that I'm not smoking, Krishna is smoking, what happens according to them? Like, I just want to have an idea.
Okay. So yes, this is also a very wonderful question. So now, first of all, the definition of offering to Krishna, they do not understand. Just by this question, I can realize they do not understand what is the meaning of offering to Krishna. They are thinking, if I do something and in the mind I think I am doing for Krishna, that means offering. No, this is not the meaning of offering. So therefore, this question is coming that if I drink alcohol and I think that I'm offering to Krishna, so that is offered. No, this is not the meaning of offering. One meaning of offering is I'm doing a job, I'm earning money, and with that money, I'm building Krishna's temple, I'm helping in book distribution, I'm doing preaching. So then I'm offering my work to Krishna. So this is one possible way, and there are other ways as well. So this is why, so you cannot do like break regulatory principles and offer to Krishna. So offering to Krishna does not mean just in the mind you think that I am doing it for Krishna. No, that is not the case. Another point is that what Krishna wants, that is specified in the scriptures. If you do something wrong out of scriptures, Krishna will not accept. So what is the meaning of your offering? If we offer, Krishna has to accept, then it is called an offering. It's not that I just offered in the air, and whether Krishna accepted or not, I do not care. So that is not offering. Offering means you meet the person, you gift, and the person accepts. Then the offering is complete. And Krishna will not accept unless it is ordained by the scriptures. So due to these two reasons, the wrong things cannot be offered to Krishna. Does that answer, Mataji?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. That answers my questions. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Yes, Ayush Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, actually, I have the similar question which Mataji has asked about the fall down of yogi. I heard in one lecture that those who have very less spiritual endeavors, they usually get birth in very aristocratic mercantile family, and those who have done a tremendous endeavor in spiritual advancement, they mostly get birth in Vaishnava's family.
Yeah.
And Prabhu, actually, my question was related to about Pratyahar section you have just described, that how we can regulate these senses, and by that we can have more focus and concentration on our spiritual and material both the activities. But Prabhu, how we can contemporize this and put this in our actual practice so that we cannot compromise on our spiritual path as well as we can do better in both aspects.
Yeah, so therefore that is the difference between Ashtanga Yoga and Karma Yoga. So in Bhakti Yoga section, when we'll discuss, so we are not doing Ashtanga Yoga. So we will do Bhakti Yoga, and most of the questions will be answered when we will discuss 7 to 12. But the answer is that for doing Pratyahar, the process for a Bhakti Yoga is not very difficult. You just regulate your senses and mind in Krishna's service, and then it will be automatically regulated. Just like Ambarish Maharaj's example is given. Ambarish Maharaj engaged the mind in thinking about Krishna, engaged all the senses in thinking about like doing Krishna service. So first of all, you plan a schedule where you do some regular services for Krishna, like in your home you have some DT, so you will do DT services, you will clean the altar, so you are engaging your senses in Krishna service. You read Bhagavad Gita, hear the lecture, so you are engaging the mind intelligence in Krishna service. You chant the holy names, and so keep all these things in your schedule so that your mind, senses, intelligence, everything touches some Krishna component regularly. And by just doing that, everything will be spiritualized and Krishna will take over. So the concept is we want to invoke Krishna in the chariot of our body, just like Arjuna's charioteer was the chariot driver was Krishna. So we are inviting Krishna to drive the chariot of our body. So just follow Srila Prabhupada's program and Krishna will come and drive your chariot, and then automatically everything will come. And also we have to be patient. Like crores of lifetime we have done this nonsense things. So just like a fan which is rotating at a very high speed, if you just turn off the switch, it will still rotate for a considerable amount of time. So it will take some time for our senses to be detached from the sense gratification. But surely it will happen, and we have to keep trying. We should not lose hope. One of the qualities of devotee is ashabandha. Although it is difficult, a devotee is hopeful, because devotee knows that this is difficult, but devotee has more faith in Krishna's mercy than the greatness of the problem. The problem is great, undoubtedly. Just like Krishna also said, asamshayam mahabaho, that controlling the mind and senses is a very Herculean task. But a devotee has faith, more faith in Krishna's mercy. Devotee thinks Krishna's mercy is bigger than the problem. So if I try sufficiently and Krishna is pleased with my endeavors, Krishna will shower mercy and this will happen, however difficult it is. But it will take time. Krishna will purify us sufficiently before that point comes. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Actually, I have also one question. Please take it. Prabhu, you said about the chanting that we have to concentrate our mind on chanting for 144 seconds in order to get into the calm state. So, Prabhu, actually, when I was taking your Bhagavatam class, in one of your classes, there was section where you have described as Samantha Jnana. Then I also heard in the lecture of Art of Chanting by Amrendra Prabhu, Samantha Gyan is very important before we chant. First, we need to know why we are chanting, to whom we are chanting, what is the tattva of chanting, and everything. So, how we can perceive this?
If you want to know Samyanda Gyan very wonderfully, you should read the Sanatana Shiksha given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if you just read that section, you will get a very wonderful understanding of what is Sambandha Gyan. In essence, the Sambandha Gyan is to realize that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and I am an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. I am an eternal servant of Krishna and this is my only identity. And I should be free from all other designations. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. So that is the essence of Sambandha Gyan. But you should read, I will recommend you to read that Sanatana Shiksha from Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So one question came in the chat box. Since nowadays I don't get devotee association, due to which sometimes I get distracted. Yeah, devotee association is very important. Otherwise, we seem to get distracted, get tempted in things that should not be done. How can I stay in spiritual path firmly? Yeah, it all happens in our life at some point of time. It happened to me also, and it happens to some devotees, that we cannot stay in association always. Therefore, first of all, we have to value the association. When we do not have association, we realize that, oh, the association was so valuable, but I took that cheaply. This is the when Krishna wants to give us some benediction, this is the greatest benediction Krishna gives, the association of devotees. By Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we have temples almost in all the towns, like all the cities, major cities. So first we should try to see if there is some ISKCON temple. And even if there is no ISKCON temple, there will be some devotees. Whenever I am in a place, I should immediately contact the local devotees. And if you try to contact, Krishna will arrange. Or you ask other devotees, they will give you the contacts. So that is one way. Another way, when nothing is working and you are not getting any association. So what helped me by hearing these lectures. So one time, so whenever some bad thought is coming or you are getting distracted, I have observed in my personal life, if you just hear a lecture by Amarendra Prabhu or Amog Leela Prabhu, one of these pure souls, Radheshyam Prabhu, Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, or anyone you like, one of these pure souls, or any Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, Loknath Swami Maharaj, Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, immediately there is a change in consciousness. So all these things like chanting the holy names, hearing from a Vaishnava, these are very potent. But sometimes because we are in a very low consciousness level, chanting is helpful, but we cannot perceive that help. It will help gradually. But in the neophyte stage, I have seen during my journey of Krishna consciousness, hearing a lecture immediately helps. So therefore, you should follow this rule. A lecture a day keeps Maya away. Just like the doctor say that an apple a day keeps diseases away. Similarly, you have to at least hear 1 hour of lecture from some of the pure Vaishnavas. You can keep rotating, but this is very, very important to keep your consciousness in track. So that should help. And also you do the DT services, whatever you have, and pray to the DTs, and never miss chanting the holy names. Holy names is very important. Chanting 16 rounds is like holding the hands of Krishna. So if a child is walking on a street with mother, if the child is holding the hand of the mother and there is a banana peel, the child may slip, but the child will not fall. But if the child is not holding the mother's hand, it will slip and fall. So if you somehow maintain that chanting 16 rounds, you keep that connection with Krishna. So allurements can like make you slip, but it will not fall. So this chanting 16 rounds is very important, and at least hear 1 lecture every day. That should help. And also please proactively try to find association of devotees. Okay. Yes, Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
As per the chapter, as we like during chanting, if our mind gets diverted, then we can bring back to that original position. So again and again with practice, as you shared, we will be able to control the mind. Now, with our effort and willpower, we are trying our best. How much Krishna will help us in this on the path of bhakti? I mean, on the path of doing chanting.
Yes. So the Acharya say, if we come 1 step closer to Krishna, Krishna will walk 1,000 steps, and you will perceive that. So initially, we should think that, okay, chanting is a service. Some people think that I should release chanting. So when I was practicing, some devotees were after this, that why I'm not getting taste in chanting, why I'm not getting taste. So some of the senior Maharajas, they told that, why are you trying to find pleasure in chanting? You were chanting to please Krishna. If Krishna is pleased, that's all. So you should take it as a service, that my Guru has given this service. If we are initiated, Diksha Guru has given the service. If we are not initiated, Siksha Gurus have given the service. So I have been given this service by some representative of Krishna. And if I just do that, Krishna will be pleased. And in due course, Krishna will help you whenever we are qualified. So we do not need to worry that when Krishna will help. Krishna will help immediately if we are qualified.
Yes, exactly. So if we do 5 rounds and I want to reach at 10 rounds, I mean, with an effort, after a few days, Krishna can make an arrangement to do that chanting. Although sometimes what happened, we want to finish 10 rounds, but as you shared in earlier lecture, like in a whole day, we can do the rounds, and in whole day, we can finish at least 10.
Yes.
So I'm trying my best, and yeah.
So we have to be super strict with this. Then I think it will be possible. At some point, we have to be strict that no, whatever happens, if I do not complete the rounds, I should not sleep. So somehow you complete the rounds. And if you do that for maybe 1 month, 2 months, it will become a habit. So initially, everyone thinks, okay, 16 rounds, 2 hours, this is too much. But for the devotees who are doing 16 rounds for 30 years, it is nothing. It's a part of a lifetime. Nobody complains that, oh, I have to eat 3 times a day, so much time waste. Nobody says that. So similarly, after some time, it will become like a part of your lifestyle and you will feel nothing in chanting 16 rounds. But somehow you have to break through the mental bondage that it will take too much time. So just do 8 rounds in the morning, 8 rounds in the evening. You can also increase the speed a little bit. Somehow you complete, then you will gain the confidence.
Yes,
and you can continue.
Question.
Yeah. And also
now,
you nicely schedule that, okay, when can I do this?
Yes,
we are not so busy that we cannot do 16 rounds. Everyone can do.
Exactly.
Just we have to plan nicely.
Yes, Prabhu. Last question. As we are on the path of becoming the devotee, in our family, the people close to us, like brother, sister, are in the materialistic world. We don't want them to see suffer, and we want them. So how much our bhakti will help them to be on the path of devotee?
Yes. So when Prahlad Maharaj asked this question, Nishingadev came in front of Prahlad Maharaj. Nishingadev is telling again and again, I am very pleased with you, Prahlad. Please ask for some benediction. Prahlad is first. Prahlad chastised Nishingadev. In the fear of Nishingadev, everybody is trembling. And here Prahlad is chastising that, do you think me a businessman? That you are forcing me again and again to ask for benediction. I do not do your bhakti for some benediction. Then Nishingadev told, no, still you have to ask for benediction. I am very pleased with you. So then Prahlad Maharaj asked that, please take care of my father. I know how to get liberated. I will chant your names and I will get liberated. You don't have to do anything for me. But please take care of my father. He was very inimical to you. And I don't know what will be his destination. The same question you were asking. So Nishingadev told, ask for another benediction, because the benediction you are asking, that is already fulfilled. Your father is already liberated because you are a Mahabhagavat. And because your father had a family connection with you, is already liberated. So ask for another benediction. So if we do bhakti nicely, if we become a pure devotee, not only our family members, like 100 generations above and 100 generations later, they will be liberated. So that benefit they will get. Otherwise, if they are broad-minded, pious, we can preach them. We can like make them understand this philosophy. Or if they like kirtan, we can bring them to kirtan, feed them prasadam. If nothing works, just pray for them. Or offer some of your devotional credits to them. Maybe you do an Ekadashi and you just offer the fruits by praying to Krishna that, oh Krishna, I have done this Ekadashi Vrata, please transfer this credit to this person, and Krishna will do that. So all these different techniques we can adopt if we are feeling compassionate towards the family members. And this compassion is very good, and Krishna will be very pleased with you that you are becoming compassionate to others.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so as we are running out of time, I have noted all the other questions in the chat and I will reply you personally. Thank you so much for asking so many wonderful questions. I'm very, very happy. This means you were really liking this philosophy and understanding. Thank you very much, Hari Krishna. So, Kantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.